So let's get into it. First and foremost, appreciate you for tapping into the live stream. Like I said, it's just funny how when shit was just booming, when shit was booming, I had 50, 60 motherfuckers in here real time, but now that shit went down. People didn't, the whole investor wave has kind of disappeared. Like it, hey, shout out to y'all. It's all good. Like I ain't tripping because shout out to my Patreon guys. Y'all pay the Patreon guys. As long as Patreon pushing, this is just free content. You know what I'm saying? This isn't meant for me to do anything. It's really just to inform you guys on what's going on in real time. Um, so I do appreciate everybody who is joining the live stream. As always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, all that good shit. For my Patreon guys, salute to y'all. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Patreon page. I actually dropped a really, really hot stock that out of everything that was fucked up yesterday, it was one of the stocks that actually did good yesterday, and it's going to continue to do good. So if you don't have a Patreon page as of yet, make sure you guys tap into that, and I'll have some new content tomorrow. So before we get into how fucked up the market went yesterday, and how things are kind of rebounding today, first thing I want to go over is the companies that are going to be doing their earnings calls today. This is important because this can dictate how the market's going to go tomorrow. Because there's a lot of major companies that's doing their earnings calls. So some of these stocks might be stocks that you guys are invested into or might be considering investing into. Just as a reminder, earnings calls is when every single quarter the company does a call with the investors to let them know how they did the previous quarter, how much money they made, all that good shit. So there's a lot of companies that are going doing their earnings call really this entire week. There was some big ones that did it yesterday. And like I said, these earnings calls are going to affect the whole market over the course of the week. So first, the biggest one, Netflix. Netflix is doing their earning call. Realistically, they're probably going to be down because they take out a lot of money to create their content. But let's just go over everything. We got Netflix, we got Chipotle, Synchrony Financial, Ally Financial. That's why I got my car loan through, so I know them niggas. Halliburton Company, which if y'all would have followed me last year and y'all heard me say Halliburton, I spoke on Halliburton when it was $4. I don't know about y'all, but I quadrupled my money off that. But Halliburton, United Airlines, that's one of the companies I've always spoke about. Signature Bank, HCA Healthcare. What else? CIT Group, Hancock Whitney Corporation. Let's see if there's anybody else that you guys would actually know. A lot of these companies are financial companies. This is a financial month in terms of, I mean, a lot of what we're going to be doing over the next week or two is going to be about financial stuff. So, in terms of earnings calls, Capital City Bank Group, CNB Financial Corporation, shit like that. Once again, if you want to get the full list of the companies that are going public, I'm not going public, but the companies that are doing their earnings calls on a day by day basis, you can always go to NASDAQ.com. It's very boring, it is very tedious. But at the end of the day, if you want the information for yourself to get the full list, make sure you guys go to NASDAQ. So that's that for that. So once again, just to kind of reiterate how yesterday went, I mean, unless you was living under a rock, if you have any type of investments, it's highly likely that you lost. You didn't lose money because you don't really lose money until you sell your stock. But stocks were down yesterday. Actually, stocks were down more than they have ever been cumulatively for the entire year. Yesterday was by far the worst trading day of 2021. It's not even close. The only industry that actually made money yesterday was the semiconductor industry, which once again, if you followed my Patreon page, you would have already known that and you would have made money. But that's another story for another day. But yeah, yesterday was fucked up. I mean, there ain't no going around it. The biggest reason why it was fucked up is because of this Delta variant of COVID that popped up. They considered yesterday the Delta sell-off. That's what they called yesterday. A lot of people were selling their stocks and their shares because they feel like this next run of COVID is going to shut shit down again. So a lot of the companies that benefit from people going outside, benefit from people doing things that don't confine them to their home, a lot of those things actually shot to shit yesterday. Yesterday, they announced that over $100 billion worth of crypto fell through because Bitcoin is under 30,000. Same thing for Dogecoin. I think it's at like 16 cents. See, now this is where hopscotch investing comes into play because realistically, if you wasn't a hopscotch investor and you actually just took heed to the information about crypto, about Bitcoin and Dogecoin, you should still be up on both those stocks. I mean, both those coins right now, because last year at this time, Dogecoin was 0.001%, 0.00. It wasn't even a penny. So even at this point, if you actually invested into it when people recommended it, then realistically, you probably would still be 16 times return on investment. But once again, we got these hopscotch investors who only hop on these streams because they see shit going up and they want validation should they follow the trend. This isn't what this is about. It's about letting you know what's going on real time and you making the decision on if it's worth it long term. But if you guys were on Bitcoin last year, at this time last year, Bitcoin was at 9,000. So the fact that it's at 28, 29,000 now, for the people who actually invested into it when you were supposed to invest into it, then you still got triple your return on investment. So too many people think about the losses as opposed to what this shit has done in the last year. So I'll say the same thing about the stocks that went to shit yesterday. They went to shit yesterday for the same reasons why the stocks went to shit last year to begin with, COVID. So when once again, history has a way of repeating itself. So if you know that this is how people came up last year, when shit sells off, it's only logical to get down when the shit is low now. And that doesn't mean get away, because this is what people do. Y'all get on when shit going up. That's the goof shit. Like me and my investor buddies, we laughed when Mick Mill posted, "Oh, I'm about to get in Dogecoin." It was at 53 cents a fucking share at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that isn't the time to get on these waves. You get on them when they look like shit. Yesterday, they look like shit. So hopefully you had the wherewithal to get in on Bitcoin while it was cheap, get in on Dogecoin while it's 16 cents. You guys are smoking dust if you think these coins are gonna just keep going low. It's just a matter of time, y'all. You just got to think forward thinking. Stocks and coins. It's not about now. It's never about now. When you invest into this shit, it's not about now. You invest for the future. That's why we always say 3 to 5 years, because these things happen all the time. Inflation is a part of the economy, especially when you have a whole year where shit would shut the fuck down. You can't just expect that the very next year, because we got a new president, that shit just gonna switch up. That's not how things work. So you have to be patient and you have to take advantage of these opportunities, because 2 months from now, when the shit maybe goes up back to where it normally was, then a lot of these motherfuckers who jump in this stream later are gonna be like, damn, I wish I would have did it. Damn that. Do it now. I'm also going to be doing a post on my Patreon page today to talk about different ways to actually get education free for opportunities that can make you 5 or 6 figures. So if you have my Patreon page, this has nothing to do with stocks. I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. That will be on my Patreon page tomorrow. But once again, in terms of the market, it's gone up relatively today. Now, if you notice, the things that have gone up the most so far has been tech stocks. Now, if you understand why, it is because tech stocks apply to people who are at home. So when you see Roblox going back up, or some of these other things that actually apply to being at home, they're basically indicating that we want to start investing in the fact that people might be right back at home, because a lot of things are going to be shutting down. And we'll talk more about some of the actual stocks on my Patreon page, but it is important to have the wherewithal to know, okay, so the Delta variant is going on. I just read a thing that said that the UK, they're about to shut back down. And they're also saying that we're 2 weeks away from what UK is dealing with right now. Do I think we'll ever shut down again? No, I don't think that. But I do think that a lot of the industries that are affected by things being opening up are going to go down, because people aren't going to go out as much, which means there are opportunities. That, on top of the companies that are going public this week, which there are a lot. Once again, if you follow my Patreon page, there's a full list of all the companies not only going public, but also doing stock splits. So, long story short, don't scare off. It's not really much to it. I mean, if you understand how history works, history has a way of repeating itself. If you have any confusion on what you should look into, just look back to last year. Last year will give you the insight to know everything that you should probably invest into right now that the stocks are not where they were, but they're down. And they're down for the exact same reason why they were down last year. So, I'm just giving you guys insight. I'm not going to give you guys specific stocks to look into, unless you follow my Patreon page. But this is just some things to think about, guys. And just don't sell your shit. Like, if you're down, it doesn't make sense to sell it. That defeats the whole purpose of investing. Real investors look at this like this is chow time. Like, this is chow time. Like, shit red, butter. Let's get it while it's cheap. As a real hustler, you get it while it's cheap. You don't get it while it's high because it takes away your profit. So the people who are just waiting for it to go high, just don't invest because y'all are the reason why the market is fucked up now. Cool. So that's pretty much it, man. It ain't really shit else going on, to be honest with you. Like I said, tech stocks are the things that are driving the most. I'm gonna say this again: if you have not got rid of AMC by now, you better get rid of that shit because it ain't going back up to $60. I'm telling you that now. I told motherfuckers to don't hold it past $50, but at $36, if you still got it, sell it today. I mean, it might go back up to 40, maybe 50 again, but it's not going back up to 60 because there's no value to justify that unless they want to go against the hedge fund companies again, which I guess that's a tug of war game. But yeah, I would look into tech. Like I said, tech is doing good today, and tech could continue to do well if they think that this Delta variant is gonna last. So that's pretty much it, y'all. I got nothing else for y'all today. It's a pretty simple day. Jeff Bezos just went to space. I guess the space industry is looking to go up $800 million in the next year. The space tourism thing. So maybe that's something to look into. I don't really, if that's the case, maybe Tesla might be your best move just because it kind of covers both ends. But that's pretty much it. There ain't really shit else going on besides the fact that we just recovering from yesterday. So once again, if you don't have my Patreon page, make sure you guys tap in. I have some very legitimate stocks. I have a very legitimate stock that I just talked about yesterday. And once again, tomorrow we'll be talking about free schooling that can get you into industries where you can make 5 or 6 figures immediately. So keep an eye out for that as well. Once again, I appreciate everybody tapping in. Just as a reminder, my live streams are only Tuesdays and Thursdays now. I'm not doing Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays no more for the live stream. If you want Wednesday content, tap into the Patreon page. But till then, see you guys Thursday.